to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We set this time aside for any public comment. Seeing none, we'll go on to the budget. Carol?
Good evening, Carol Wright, I'm the budget officer. This is an opportunity for the public comment, but first I'd just like to run through a little review that the steps that we've taken in compliance with Oregon budget law. I was appointed the budget officer at the January board meeting. There were some budget committee vacancies that were filled in February. We advertised the budget committee meetings in a local newspaper in April. We held 2 meetings in addition to an orientation meeting kind of talking about the budget process. And the budget was approved by the budget committee as proposed at the meeting on May 16th. The budget committee also voted for no tax levy, which is a requirement annually. And we advertised the budget hearing for this evening in the newspaper on June 5th. Here's a summary of the total budget, and you can see that our total budget is about $1 million lower than our previous budget. Some of that is reduction in reserves because of spending money on capital projects, but we've also reduced some expenditures as well. And as we work through the budget process, we also calculate our debt covenant compliance. Our debt payments for the upcoming budget year are a little bit lower. It's just the structure of the bonds that we're paying off. But we do have sufficient coverage for our debt covenants with the budget as proposed. And now I'll step aside and let any public that wants to talk.
Well, I'll open that for public comment. Any public comment? Cindy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to thank the chair and the board members for attending the budget meeting. As a member of the budget committee, I thought that the work that was done in a very workmanlike manner, went through very smoothly, and I think that this is one of the better budgets that's been developed over the past few years. And I hope that the public thinks so as well. And I would encourage the board to approve the budget that was sent forward to you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, any comments from the board?
One comment, Mr. Chairman. I would simply like to thank the citizen volunteers to the Budget Committee and the Chair very much for their effort and their work and their time. It was appreciated. Thank you.
Could we have a motion, please?
Move to close the budget hearing.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments? If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Humberstone?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalani?
Aye.
Commissioner Sterling?
No.
And Commissioner Sola?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-1.
We'll now go on to action items. Our first item is board vacancy. We have a candidate. Could we have more?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to appoint Mr. Dave McNeil to the Clackamas River Water Board.
Second.
There a motion and a second. Any comments? Any public comment? If not, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Humberstone?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalani?
Aye.
Commissioner Sterling?
Abstain.
And Commissioner Sola?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0-1.
Our next agenda item has been removed we'll have a meeting on it later, so,
No. Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
yes.
We do need to administer the oath of office to the new member and
Okay.
see him, sir.
If you'll do that for us.
Yes. Mr. McNeil, would you come forward?
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Dave McNeil,
I, Dave McNeil,
do hereby swear to faithfully discharge the duties,
do hereby faithfully
swear to faithfully,
discharge the duty
of Commissioner of Clackamas River Water,
of Clackamas River Water,
a water district
and Water District,
under Oregon Revised Statutes,
under Oregon Revised Statute,
Chapter 264,
Chapter 264,
according to the Constitution of the United States of America
according to the Constitution of the United States of America
and the State of Oregon,
and the State of Oregon,
and to the laws of the State of Oregon,
and the laws of the State of Oregon,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
during the term of office to which I was appointed.
to the term of the office I was appointed.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
She will take care of it. You'll have to sign this.
I got it.
Thank you.
Have a seat. Agenda item number 5. Carol?
Good evening, again, Carol Bright, I'm the officer. This is just a follow-on to the budget hearing, and so here is a motion to adopt the resolution that is presented to you that shows the appropriations of the budget for the upcoming year.
Mr. Chairman, I move the board adopt resolution number 14-2013, adopting the budget and making appropriations for fiscal year 2013-14.
Second.
Any public comments? Seeing none, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
No.
Thank you. We'll go on to number 6, resolution 15-2013. You have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 15-2013, bad debt write-off for fiscal year 2012-13 uncollected water bills.
Second.
The motion is made and seconded. Do we have any public comment? Any comments from the board?
I'd just like to thank Carol for time on that. I had some questions about how that system works and why it's done the way it's done, and she was very gracious in educating me, so thank you.
We'll have a voice vote again. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say no.
No.
And number 7, resolution 16-2013. Now we have a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 16-2013, bad debt write-off for fiscal year 2012-13 unpaid miscellaneous billings.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. Any public comment? Any board comment? If not, we'll have another voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Say no. Resolution, item number 8,
Excuse me.
first reading
I'm
of
sorry.
ordinance
Commissioner Sala.
01-2013.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Sterling, did you say yes, no, or abstain?
Yes, I voted aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion?
This is the first reading, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Moore.
Yes. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, what you have before you is a first reading of the county ordinance, and that's reading by title only. And what it is that, as you know, we own Riverside Park down by the river, and that we are probably the only park within the county with a boat ramp that does not charge for the use of the park. And as a result, we have quite a bit of activity down there. We've also made it a primary location for the community's Little League teams. And what we have been requested to do by the county sheriff's office is to give them full authority to police the park as if it was another county park, including the ability to arrest. And so what you have in front of you is the ordinance that would allow that to happen, along with the particulars associated with the ordinance. As you know, we're a water district. We're really not in the business of policing. So as a result, we've collaborated with the sheriff. As you know, they use the park for storage for their marine activities, and they also use the park for training their canine units. They've even had canine competitions there. And so this is really a further step in that collaboration, especially at the beginning of summer, so that if there's drinking and other kind of disorderly behavior, the sheriffs can act as if it is county property, but in reality, we still retain ownership and control. So that's what this is for. I can answer any questions.
Okay. The motion I was looking for is to read the ordinance by title only. Would you do that?
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 012013, Riverside Park adoption of Clackamas County's ordinance code for county parks.
Thank you. There was a second.
Second.
Any comments from the public? From the board? If not, we'll have a voice vote on reading by title only, which Mr. Emerson said. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. We'll go on now to item number 9. And we have warrants.
Good evening. Adam Bjornstead, Engineering Manager, and presenting on agenda item number 9, which is the generator project and amendment to the professional services agreement with Cummins Engineering, amendment number 4 for construction engineering services. I'll keep this pretty brief, but what I wanted to do was take an opportunity also just to kind of update the board on the project as far as schedule and budget goes as we head into the construction phase. So just a brief outline of what we're talking about tonight. The design phase, as I show up there, is essentially substantially complete. There's been a design team composed of in-house staff, myself, and the engineering department, as well as our contractor, Oregon Electric, who provides the electrical design with oversight from our engineer, Cummins Engineering, and Oregon Electric structural team. Just a couple items there remaining to finalize for the overall electrical design and electrical drawings. And we're anticipating shortly to issue the final drawings for construction. Again, just a quick touch on schedule, and I'll get to the meat of our item here. Oregon Electric plans to begin site work this month. As you recall, the early work was approved a couple months ago, and they have most of the pieces in place to start groundwork out there. And then anticipating that'll take about a month and a half. And by August, they'll be preparing the site to receive the switchgear and generator enclosures and fuel tank, among other things. They'll be putting in conduit, they'll be running wires. In other words, we'll be making a nice mess of the treatment area. But of course, with the goal of keeping everything on par, keeping operations going at the treatment plant with minimal disturbance. And then this fall and early winter is when all the major electrical upgrades will be conducted. We'll be planning with the contractor and of course with the treatment plant to minimize durations of shutdowns. There will be a number of shutdowns that are required because we'll be replacing some of the main motor control centers and whatnot at the power plant and the low-lift pump station, as well as coordinating with PGE to do the service upgrade, where they'll be coming in and basically restringing the actual electrical service to the plant from the PGE grid, where PGE will have made those improvements for us. So we're anticipating being substantially complete by the end of the year. That's still our goal. And then final testing and commissioning first part of next year. So the construction phase engineering services with Pennant Engineering, we still will require through the construction phase an electrical engineer to provide technical expertise, coordinating with our contractor, providing recommendations back to CRW, doing submittal reviews, and other technical assistance, responding to RFIs, that sort of thing. So because Pennant Engineering was such an integral part with us in the design phase, staff is recommending continuing them on in the design phase, or in the construction phase. The next slide is really taken out of Exhibit A in your write-up, which is the actual proposal for the contract amendment. This work totals $110,000. That's what the amendment value is. You can see the breakdown there, and really the key items that I just mentioned. Technical assistance, having a presence on site. I'll be on site daily with the contractor. Conduit will not, but as needed, we'll bring them in to do technical review of the electrical work and inspection. Keep in mind that the agreement is still time and materials, so we don't spend it all, we don't pay them $110,000. It's as needed for the time they actually put into the work. And we have a little bit of contingency built in there, just in case they need additional time in the project encounters some technical issues where we need more contingency time. So we've reviewed their scope and confirmed that it meets the design to construct the project and what we expect for a project of this size. As we look at the engineering costs, and the next slide I have there, what I tried to do was represent the overall project budget as approved in concept actually May of 2011 was when we first brought the revitalized project budget to the board with a $3.2 million figure. And that number hasn't changed as recently as this, the now approved, adopted 13-14 budget. So these two columns actually move the page here. There's the initial number, and then the 3.2 carried over into the estimates, the most current estimates. And we showed a breakdown of design and engineering, in-house labor, and the main one, of course, being construction, and then some contingency in there as well. So then the next, really kind of this wholesale column here, actual projected costs and approved contracts. What I tried to do was take known expenses to date, any approved contracts, including Oregon Electric's guaranteed maximum price, which is about $2.1 million. There's two numbers there that show the total, but about $2.1 million for Oregon Electric for the overall construction. And then all the other incidental expenses that, again, would be broken out in our original estimates. In-house labor, that number, the $377,000, was to date value, I believe, as of March of this year, and I forecasted ahead to intended completion, like I shared, December or January of this year, January, February. So overall, what we're looking at, if we add all these up, and again, these are forecasted project total, we're looking at a total project cost of just under $2.9 million, which is within our original budget. So I'm hopeful that we'll stay within that realm. Try to capture all the knowns and many unknowns as we can capture. So, any questions on that?
I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the board amend the professional services agreement with Conduct Engineering Incorporated for construction phase engineering services under the emergency power and electrical upgrades project, an increase of $110,000 for a revised not to exceed budget of $299,140.
Any discussion by the board? Any questions?
Just noted one thing, just on the engineering costs alone, we're still $32,000 under budget, as well as the overall project being well under budget. Thank you.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Motion been made, second, any public comment? Seeing none, hearing none from the board, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Number 10. Adam, you have
Agenda item 10 is donation of assets.
Okay.
For Monarch Hotel and One Monarch Center. We did have a map attached, put it up on the slide. It's not in your PowerPoint packet, I just wanted out. This is a supplement. You do have this in the item 10, Exhibit A, I believe, or it's not an exhibit, but it's an attachment there. What we have, Monarch Hotel constructed, or that was built, I should say, back in the early 80s. And they went through the review and approval process with Clackamas River Water. The water line, as you see it, was constructed to the Water District standards and approved. However, for whatever reason, and our records aren't clear, but the donation of asset was never made. So we've been in conversation with the property owner, these two tax lots, 2,000 and 2,400. And they have agreed, as you see in the donation form, to donate the assets of water lines and purposes to the district.
a motion.
I move that the Board of Commissioners accept the donation of assets as presented for the Monarch development.
Second.
Motion been made and second, any public comment? Any comment or question from the board?
I have a question.
Yes.
So is this then in an easement?
That's a good question. Typically, we will receive both of those. If it was new construction,
Right.
we would receive both of those at the same time.
So you would receive the asset and
The asset
easement to
to
go
make-
onto the property and
Correct.
service the line anyway? Right, okay.
Correct. However, now, because of the history here, we are taking it as a two-step process, and we've communicated with the owner that the next step is that we will be applying for a permanent easement. So once we get this approval tonight, anticipating it, we will then go back to the property owner and.
So this just transfers the water line now?
Correct.
With easement to follow?
Correct.
No questions or comments? If not, we'll have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 11. Adam, you're on the agenda.
And last item here, number 11. This is for a construction contract change order under the Longfield Phase 3 Fire Service Relocation Project. And what we have is the project was awarded, and as you recall, this project is associated with Clackamas County's road work on Longfield Road. It's their phase 3 of the Highway 212 to Longfield connection project. And I don't have a good picture with me, I apologize. But we awarded the contract back in May. And immediately after that, the county came to the district and the property owner with the request that CRW revise its design to place less of an impact or burden upon the property owner. I'll jump to my limited map here. And again, I apologize, this is a bit small, but Longfield Road, heading up the hill, 98 Court here. So basically, the property owner's fire service vault, the existing vault is here on the corner. With the road work proposed by the county, they're going to put about 15 feet of fill in this area as they attempt to level the road as going up the hill. And due to that, the district determined that our water line, which runs out in the middle of the road right now, and which this fire service is fed off of, would be very difficult to maintain in the future without much fill on top of it. So our plan, our initial plan, was to come back to this point, retap the 12-inch line, and extend a new service to the right-of-way, which then the property owner would be required to extend a new fire service line to that point. The property owner went to the county, and basically, because it was a county project, the property owner went to the county and said, we don't want to do that. So then the county came back to us and said, is there anything you can do with your design to put zero impact on the owner, the property owner? So what we did to accommodate that is we added this bold line, as you see here, from that same tap point back to the existing vault. And what that accomplishes is, although there will be some fill in this new shoulder area of the new road, it'll only be 2 to 3 feet of additional fill because of the embankment and the super elevation as this road heads up the hill is all sloped to the north. So we'll still be out of the major fill area. We'll tap back into the existing vault, and that's this detail over here where we're running. This is the line coming from the west, tying into the existing vault piping in this rectangle here is a fire vault. So we'll have to raise the vault about 3 feet with a concrete riser and some of the other items around it. There's the building's domestic service also comes off of this line here, so we'll be raising that as well. So all this to say that to do this, we're adding scope to our project. So what we did is we got pricing from our contractor to do this additional work, and they furnished the pricing, and we put it into this change order to present to the board.
Do I have a motion?
Move the board approve change order number 1 to the contract with DM Excavating Company Incorporated for construction services under the Longfield Phase 3 Fire Service Relocation Project, an increase of $40,950 for a revised contract total $71,051.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any public comment? Seeing none, do I have a comment from the board?
One question. Is the county going to participate in this at all?
Mr. Chair, that's a very good question, and they have indicated they are not going to provide any reimbursement. There's a little bit of history there, if I can. This project has been in the works for a number of years, from phase 1 to phase 3 today. And I'm estimating here, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we had initial conversations with the county. We were given the information that this project did not involve state or federal funds. And because of that, it makes the reimbursement situation a little different. If it's just a county project, typically we do this work at our expense. Unlike the JPA project, which is somewhat a companion to this, or at least parallel to it, where ODOT is doing much of the work on the JPA with federal funds, and that's why there's a reimbursement piece that CRW is able to take advantage of. When we had the discussion with the county, once they heard from the property owner here a couple of months ago, the county made the comment that if we had come to them earlier with this design, that there may have been a reimbursement possibility. And at that point, we said, we understood at that earlier that there was not a reimbursement because of where the funding came from. So it appears that somewhere along the line, federal and ODOT had more of a stake in this project and did supply some funding, meaning that there could have been a reimbursement possibility a year and a half, 2 years ago. Our lesson learned from the situation is that given information up front, we probably will pursue much more aggressively prior to construction on a project like this. If there's any guess, and again, a guess is as good as a guess, but that there could be funding available. But again, the information we were given indicated that there was not a reimbursement possibility.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more comments?
Of one. So, my question is, after construction, with the grade, this is a significant grade change in the project.
It is.
And I've seen all this elevations
Oh, yeah.
and stuff that.
Mhm.
I'm concerned about the district, again, getting ourselves in a spot. Every time you're the nice guy, you end up wishing you weren't at the end. So, I'm concerned that you're not gonna have access from the north side, from the road side, if we have to get in there and work. Is there access from the owner's side, and will we have a signed entrance agreement with that property owner after being the nice guy to him, so you aren't limiting yourself how you access that vault and all of that work that may end up having to get changed later?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Because of how this roadway is coming together, and this profile down below kind of gives you a picture again, it's a little small, but this is the road. To the left would be north, so you can see the super elevation is everything's tilting to the north. Sidewalk, and then down the new slope to, or shoulder to approximately here is where the vault is, that rectangle there. So the existing grade is this dash line, you can see that. And then so essentially we're raising the vault from that dash line up 3 feet. The fill in that area is really only about 2 feet,
Right.
plus or minus. So because of the fill, the way it's gonna be laid out, if we have to get back in there, we're also gonna be abandoning our water main in this, well, really from beyond our tap, our new tap, to the east. So there won't have to be any work done on this line ever, it'll be abandoned. So the only work that may have to be done in the future, a few years down the road or whatever, would be on the new 6-inch service going back to the vault, which again would be in that toe of the slope,
Right.
under a couple of feet of fill, more on our standard line of work.
Is there a guardrail there, or is it
No.
sidewalk?
There will be sidewalk,
Sidewalk.
the shoulder now, there will be
Yeah, right.
sidewalk. Yeah.
Any more questions?
And this comes before us because the total cost of the project exceeds the general manager's funding authority, correct?
That's correct. Two reasons really. That reason, and then because the percentage of change itself is over 25% of the original contract, it would also come before the board.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments on the board? Now we have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Thank you.
Now we'll go to item number 12. Commissioner reimbursements.
Mr. Chairman, I move the CRW Board approve the reimbursements for Commissioners Sterling, former Commissioner Holloway, and former Commissioner Kehoe, as submitted.
Second.
Have a motion made, second. Any comments from the public?
Mr. Solo? Excuse me.
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay. I sent everyone an email request to remove my expense account from this agenda item. Perhaps you didn't get it because of your email. I'm sure that everyone else did, including the newspapers and everyone.
Did you want to amend the motion?
It's your motion. You need to remove my name from it as I requested in the email.
You want to do that?
Fine. I will assume that I'm being requested to amend the motion and remove Commissioner Sterling's name from the motion.
Any public comment from the amended motion? Commissioner Howard. Yes, Commissioner Howard.
Thank you, Patricia Holloway, right here. I don't understand why the board has a motion to approve meetings attended by former Commissioner Catherine Kehoe when CRW's own attorney acknowledges that she was not a resident of the district, therefore not on the CRW board from, at a minimum, July the 9th.
Mr. Moore, you want to comment on
I don't have a specific recollection of the advice from our legal counsel about Ms. Kehoe's residence. My recollection is the exact opposite of that. Why she did what she did is difficult for me to answer. I think she came to a prior board meeting and made a statement to the board and presented, I believe, a written request.
She did.
Yes.
And I don't know if she addressed that in that request. So I'm not in a position to respond fully to Commissioner Holloway's, ex-Commissioner Holloway's comments.
Chair Soa, you may want to remind Mr. Moore that that information appeared in the attorney's response. I believe it is, you have so many, I think it's Ryan Long, his response to the CRW October challenge to Judge Jones's decision. So it has been restated, I know, I have the record by CRW's attorney. So I will just give you that information. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your comment. Any questions from the board? Any comments from the board?
I have a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I don't think that this should ever happen again. I don't think it's, I think there was activity going on the board that was unfortunate at the time, and people felt that they couldn't, for some reason or another, and I'm not going to get into those reasons, apply for their stipends as they were entitled to do so. That's my first issue, and I don't want to see that happen again. Secondly, we are adults. I believe that we should submit our requests within a very reasonable period of time, 10 days from the end of the month, 30 days from the end of the month, something like that, which makes it appropriate for the CFO to verify and move forward with the stipend checks. So I would request the chair direct the general manager to come forth with a policy revision for the July meeting, so that this never happens again.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Under agenda item 16, we're going to talk about the schedule for work session to come up with the policies that we want. Hopefully we can get that done to July meeting.
Thank you.
Barbara?
I'm sorry I didn't sign up because I didn't know this was going to happen. Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. It's my understanding that Commissioner Kehoe is again a resident of the district and has been for a while, and which, as I say, as I've said before, I have had no inside information on her moving or not, but my understanding was that she had to move because the place she lived in was sold, and she had to find a place to live with her family, and may not have been necessary or possible to find her to find a place right in the district at that point. And so that it was a temporary move as far as she was concerned. There was never any kind of a decision, a formal decision made whether she was or was not. Certainly no decision made that she was not entitled to be a commissioner at that point. And as Commissioner Hubbardston has stated, we had great difficulty with certain machinations by certain people who were on the board at that time with us being able to present our request for reimbursement. We were totally prohibited from doing it at certain points. And I think what she has done is valid, personally.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Any more comments from the board? Not, we'll have a roll call vote on this one.
The treasurer may have a comment with respect to the policy at the closing of the year regarding Commissioner Sterling's reimbursements.
Oh, well, according to the policies that I read in here, that the end of the fiscal year is the deadline for submission. However, there is an out here that I think it's 2 weeks, something like that, after the end of the fiscal year, when you can still submit. But anything after that is not valid. There won't be any payments after that.
Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Hubbardston?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalani?
Aye.
Commissioner McNeil?
Abstain.
Commissioner Sterling?
Abstain.
And Commissioner Sella?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0 with 2 abstentions.
Thank you. We're now at agenda item 13. Can we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move the CRW Board admonish and sanction Commissioner Grafton Sterling for violating Board Policy 6.2.f by contacting outside contract agents without board approval or going through the general manager, and by releasing private and confidential information from the executive session on April 25th, 2013. The sanction is that he should be prohibited from attending CRW executive sessions for a period of 24 months.
Second.
Any public comment? Any comment from the board? Sir.
I request you to read into the record 6.2F.
Do you have it with you, Mr. Moore?
You want me to read it? It might be easy. As the board is aware, this is a policy that was adopted in February of this year.
Well, the question is, Mr. Moore, I don't have a copy of it. I mean, I attended all the meetings and haven't received anything, and this updated copy from August of 2011 that's in the book stops at the letter E.
This was adopted in February of 2013.
Would you mind to provide me a copy of it now so that I have it when you read it, please?
Do you want me to read it, or do you want to?
I want to have a copy of it now while you read it, please.
You have a copy, I don't need to read it.
As I recall, it was included in our packets at the time.
Yes.
You also want us to read it now?
Yes,
Go ahead, Ms. Moore.
This is Resolution 08-2013, a resolution suspending section 1.8K and revising board policy section 6.2 regarding responsibility, authority, standardization. Whereas the Clackamas River Water CRW is a domestic water supply district organized under Oregon Revised Statutes ORS Chapter 264. Whereas ORS 264-210 provides that districts have the power to do things which may be requisite to operate domestic water supply district. Whereas Clackamas River Water CRW recognizes.
Mr. Moore, you can go down to letter F.
You asked me to read it, that's what I'm doing, Mrs. Rose.
I asked you to read 6.2F, that's all, Mr. Moore. Thank you.
Board Policy 1.8K is hereby suspended for the purpose of approving the changes below. Following approval of the changes below, Board Policy 1.8K will be reinstated. 6.2F, Responsibility, Authority, Standardization, is hereby amended to read, reading Section F, board members may not contact vendors, consultants, or other parties having an existing contractual relationship with CRW related to current agency business or relationships without first being authorized for such contact by a majority vote of the CRW board.
So would you tell the public and the ratepayers what exactly is defined as any business or relationship that was conducted in that executive session on the 25th of April?
Mr. Chairman, I will not get into the specifics of an executive session discussion. I can say that the document that you did submit, and this is really at the request of the board that this information was put on the agenda today, is a document from you dated May 29, 2013, that was provided to me by Commissioner Kalani, that has you, Grafton L. Sterling, Commissioner, Clackamas River Water, and you're discussing information that was discussed in an executive session, and it's distributed to a number of people that, as best I can tell, have nothing to do with CRW.
The key issue there, sir, was that the Philadelphia Insurance Company was one of the contactees, which is a contracting agency with us.
Any more questions or comments?
The issue remains that, in fact, the entire comments and direction of the legal counsel and Mr. Moore during that meeting were, in fact, as this amended motion or this amended letter F states, was by a majority vote of the board to be made public in its entirety, from the beginning of the bully complaint right through its end, which will be subsequently settled in circuit court. This is all public information. It was voted 5-0 by the board to be public information. And unless there is something within this blue book that says that all of a sudden we can say it's no longer public information, it shall remain public information because of a 5-0 vote, the majority vote of the board. Thank you, Mr. Saul.
Thank you. Any more comments?
I'm not aware of that. Is that a factual statement to your knowledge?
I'd have to check, but I don't recall that.
Well then, Mr. Saul, I suggest that Mr. Moore take and check and pull out the vote that occurred with all 5 members voting that the information remain public and stay public, so that in the July meeting he can bring forth the documents that show that it is public information. And if he has any difficulty at all attaining this information, please feel free to ask. We'll take and provide it for you if you're unable to locate the 5-0 vote.
You're talking about a 5-0 vote in the executive session?
No, it was in public meeting. All of this is in public meeting. That is to remain public information. available to the ratepayers and the public, the news media, anybody else that wants to inquire about it. And the fact of the matter is, Mr. Soa, the Boley report has been published, and it's out there in the open. And it clearly shows the inappropriate attempt to spend ratepayers' money. But all that can be brought out.
I don't, yes.
This has been discussed, where the challenge here, it seems to me, is the fact that information that was used in an executive session was made public. There were some personnel things in there that shouldn't have been. In fact, they're illegal. And if the individuals involved understood management situations, employment situations, it would have occurred.
Do we have any public comment? Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have not seen this piece of information that Mr. Moore just mentioned. I take it was sent to several people outside of the board. I'm not sure if it's made available to the public, because I'm just hearing from Mr. Kalani that there seems to be employee information in it. So I'm not sure if that's the case, but if it is, whether or not it had to do with the Boley complaint, I'm not sure. One of the things that I'm hearing from Mr. Sterling is that the Boley complaint was to be made public by a 5-0 vote. And I believe I remember that vote taking place, but that had to do with the work that was, the paperwork and the arguments going to the Boley complaint. If what was discussed in executive session had to do with something beyond the Boley complaint, but to do with the same people or whatever, that wouldn't have fallen under what was voted on from what I'm remembering. Be that as it may, in the past 4 years, there have been issues that have come out of executive session by various members of a group of people who want to make sure that only information stays in there that they believe should stay in there. And I think that if there was an agreement, not a vote taken, but an agreement among the members that something should be brought out.